Hi, this is Zak Mir with the weekend edition of the US Chartbreakers here at Zak's Traders Cafe. It is Sunday, the 7th of July. Starting off with the S&P, which is broken out of that tight consolidation above an unfilled gap to the upside, so very bullish setup, and we're looking for 5,800 as soon as the end of next month. That's certainly while we're above recent support around the 5,450 area, but ideally we stay on the right side of 5,500 ahead of further moves to the upside. The trigger for the rally, apart from the unfilled gap to the upside, was also the break of the negative divergence that we had towards the end of last month in the RSI window. So that tends to be doubly strong, as well as, of course, the two unfilled gaps to the upside since the beginning of May. Moving on to the Nasdaq, which found a happy home within a rising trend channel, a sort of much more steep one that we had from back in the autumn. Here we've broken through the old resistance area, basically 20,000, and looking for the top of that rising April channel as high as 21,250 by the end of this month. And obviously there could be much more there down the line. Moving on to the stocks and a few familiar faces, starting with the Novus. And here we're back at, well, we're still in that falling trend channel, but the top of that channel there heading towards $16.80. That's what we're looking at, especially while we're above the old May peak there at $10.50. So maybe a recent decent risk reward set up for some there. Obviously we broke through the 50-day line there around $7 and found a bull flag breakout after that. Less familiar perhaps is the next stock, but Altisource is next, and here you can see that after a rather dire bear run for the shares, it looks as though they're trying to rehabilitate themselves. Bullish divergence accompanying the latest bear trap below the $2 area, looking for an end-of-day close above the falling wedge there from back in January. That's around $2.30, and which we actually had, but the 50-day line there just above it, $2.55. And through that band of resistance, looking like the shares will hit $4 as soon as the end of this month, backed by a bullish divergence in the RSI window, of course. Next up is a situation which has been covered here before, but by Jiaoyun Group, breaking a line of resistance there from back in May. That was around the $4 level. End of week close above the 50-day moving average, which is now rising at $5.20, and we're looking for the top of that rising trend channel from February as high as $11.60 by the end of next month, while we remain on the right side of the $4.50 zone. Next up is Beneficent, and here you can see that another stock which is trying to regroup after a long time in the wilderness. Here, the good news is we managed to break the 50-day line again. Hopefully we'll have more than a day or two above that 50-day line, the line in question around $3.70. Above that, looking at the top of that falling trend channel from back in February at $11 by the end of next month. We're backed by a very steep uptrend line in the RSI window, so hopefully that will ensure that we don't get the blink and you missed it failures at the 50-day line as we did earlier in the year. Next up is a newer name, Captivision, but here we've got this falling trend channel. We bounced with a bear trap from below the June support there around $2.40, and above that, looking for the top of the channel there, $4.70, perhaps by the end of this month, as we are backed by an uptrend line in the RSI window and that bear trap rebound that we have seen so far. Easy Fill is next, and here the picture, a decent one, rising trend channel base there from back in December, throw the channel around basically around $2, and the longer we stay above that, the greater the chance of a move up to $3.15, which is the top of that December rising trend channel. Obviously we've had our weekly close above the 50-day line, $2.30, and also above that June spike area around $2.25. Koss is next, a stock which we had high hopes for. We had 1, 2, 3 targets there. The last target there was $7.70, but shares obviously decided they had much more to offer, and we've hit a line of resistance there from back at the beginning of 2022. That was heading for $18.30, and while we're above the recent support on the way down around $11.50, looking for a retest of the $18 plus area after what has been a stellar run for Koss. On to Landbridge, where there's not much to go on, but we've actually done rather well on these. So the guess here is that we're in a rising trend channel as drawn, so that it will be one from effectively notionally from March, April, but obviously not much to go on here, but it does look as though we've got a rising trend channel. Top of the channel there at $41, which if it is hit by the end of this month would mean that the charting was rather miraculous indeed. Only back below the floor of the channel, notional floor there at $24, really delaying the upside scenario, potential upside scenario. Next up is Nysen, and here we've got a more conventional bit of charting, rising trend channel there, a little bit of bear trapping below the $3.30 level, and the break here, a W-shaped reversal. Be cautious, probably want to wait and see him get an end-of-day close through $4.40. That would give the initial target here as $5.35 over the next couple of weeks. Ideally, by the end of next month, we're retesting April resistance through $8.50. On to the last three, and the first one is one which we've covered quite a lot, Poet, and here the dream scenario here is where we just hit the top of a rising trend channel, in this case around $3.70. Don't see that very often by any other chartist, but we have to get over that. Current situation is that an end-of-day close through $3.70, we could have a new leg to the upside, as high as $5.30 by the end of this month. Ideally, we stay on the right side of $3, which is basically recent resistance or end-of-week resistance for the shares. Right, another frequent flyer, and here, one of those situations where we are guessing, or were guessing, the rising trend channel formation. Here we've got $8.90 as the initial target, but we're actually looking for up to $14 by the end of next month, while we remain above the 50-day line currently near $6.50. You could maybe tighten the stop loss up to the $7 area, which is just below resistance on the way down. Finishing off with another frequent situation here, and it's wheels up. We were looking for the shares to break through that resistance line there from the turn of the year, around $2.30. The target then was $3.40, which has obviously been achieved, and above $3.40. Now looking for $5 plus by the end of this month, or hopefully rather sooner than that. That's it for me today. More updates during the week.